They seem to be everywhere, on the streets, in the bazaars, and in the farm fields of Central Asia. Hundreds of thousands of children in Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan are trapped in the cycle of child labor. Work like this is demanding for even the strongest adults. For children, it's not only exhausting. Hard physical labor can damage their development.
When I work in the fields, sometimes I have to squat for a long time, and after a while your legs start to hurt, and it's impossible to stand up again.
But around the region, something is beginning to change. An ILO IPEC project called Combating Child Labor in Central Asia, Commitment Becomes Action, is getting results in the fight against child labor in 3 countries, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and in Kazakhstan. ILO IPEC is successfully mainstreaming the child labor issue into each country's national policy framework, including legislation against child labor. Its partnerships with government, trade unions, and with employers are helping create sustainable structures such as the child labor monitoring system and raising awareness about the child labor issue. While all the projects have the same components, they are designed to address the specific situation in each country. In Kyrgyzstan, a key emphasis is on education. In Kazakhstan, the focus is on agriculture, working with growers and smallhold farmers. In Tajikistan, the effort is focused on vocational training and policy development at a national level. Every day, child labor monitors trained by ILO IPEC in Tajikistan go through the local markets in Dushanbe, talking with young people and their employers about the dangers of child labor. For these highly trained monitors, it's easy to identify someone trapped in child labor. Often the children look younger than they are. Their bodies are smaller and weaker. Their faces are tired.
We look them in the eyes, and you can tell if a child is working in forced labor. Looking in their eyes, you can realize they're calling for help. You can see they want out of child labor.
All 3 IPEC projects identified working children using a child labor monitoring system. One of the best examples was in Tajikistan. Working with the Ministry of Labor, the ILO IPEC project trained child labor monitors and established a child labor monitoring sector in the city of Dushanbe and in the rural Isfara district. When the monitors come back from the field, the information they have gathered about the children they encountered is entered into the child labor monitoring system. The information is then sent to the child labor monitoring committees established by the government's children's rights departments in Dushanbe and the Isfara district, where 70 children have been identified and recommended for non-formal or formal education or vocational and skills training.
We work with parents, the community, and the local authority in Isfara to provide targeted aid to the children. There is an understanding between employers, trade unions, and the local authority, and we make sure that the ILO Conventions on Child Labour are implemented.
According to the most recent survey of the labor force, nearly 180,000 children work on the streets, in the bazaars, and in the farm fields. Poverty is one reason, the lack of jobs another. Hundreds of thousands of Tajiks have left the country for jobs abroad, leaving women and children to fend for themselves. The 3 IPEC projects focus on vocational training to help break the cycle of child labor. An outstanding example is the Advanced Training Center in Dushanbe, which offers training in different skills such as car repair, plumbing, and baking. Thanks to the support of IPEC and the Ministry of Labor, more than 500 children in child labor or at risk for child labor have gone through vocational skills training at the center. Shanoza used to work with her mother at the bazaar. Now she is an accomplished baker.
A lot has changed in my life. When I came to the center, I didn't know how to do anything. But now I have job skills, and I can say with full confidence that I am excellent at my job.
Mohriddin used to stand by the roadside, selling bus tickets. Now he's training to be a plumber.
I am gaining skills, and I am learning how to use my skills in practice.
Close cooperation with the social partners is a key component in all 3 countries. In Tajikistan, the Employers Association signed an agreement with trade unions and the government to take a comprehensive approach against the worst forms of child labor, and built a special training center in a farming community outside Dushanbe. Trade union labor inspectors were trained to identify child labor across all sectors of the Tajik economy, especially in agriculture, and organized parent-teacher meetings in the regions to talk about the problem.
Through the involvement of the social partners and other stakeholders, the government developed a strategy for eliminating the worst forms of child labour in the period to 2020.
And working with Tajikistan's Office of Statistics, ILO IPEC supported a comprehensive survey of the country's labour market, for the first time focusing on the issue of child labour in the economy. The information gathered by the survey, the social partners and the child labour monitoring system is being mainstreamed into national policy to ensure the child labour issue is addressed in the years ahead. The program has been particularly successful in helping Tajikistan formulate a policy for the elimination of child labour. Technical assistance provided by ILO IPEC was instrumental in the development of Tajikistan's national policy on child labour.
I think one of the main contributions of the country in Tajikistan of the project was that partners, I would say, with the confidence that they are ready now to tackle child labour. They were equipped sufficiently, both methodologically, theoretically, numerous capacity building trainings has been going on in the country, both on the national level, on the regional level. We have been building the capacity regularly based on the new methods and techniques that IPEC thinks that is the best, and it's proved that it works in other countries as well.
Throughout Central Asia, much of the child labour problem happens in agriculture. In the cotton and tobacco growing regions of Kazakhstan, ILO IPEC worked with a confederation of employers to train tobacco and cotton growers about the dangers of child labour. Workshops were held for teachers, parents, and local officials in rural areas. Now the employers specifically ban child labour in their contracts with large growers and smallholders.
The contract contains a legal clause that the use of child labour is strictly forbidden. If we determine child labour is being used, the contract is terminated immediately. This mechanism works well and can be used throughout Kazakhstan or any other country.
Under the pilot project, the Federation of Trade Unions reached labour agreements with employers and government in line with national policies against child labour, organized summer camps for vulnerable children, conducted training workshops, and campaigned to raise awareness of the issue.
After we conducted our workshops, outreach and campaign work, our members understood that this is a problem for every citizen of this country and for every union member. They got actively involved in efforts to eliminate child labour. We want the trade unions to continue this work together with the government, employers and NGOs.
Working with the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, ILO IPEC was instrumental in the establishment of a national coordinating council to combat the worst forms of child labour.
At its regular meetings, the Council discusses the child labour question. And there are other government structures, including the Committee for Control and Social Protection of the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection, and at the Ministry of Education, the Committee for the Protection of Children's Rights.
The ministry also supported 12 Days Against Child Labour, a nationwide awareness-raising campaign, and introduced a child labour monitoring system in a rural district.
Piloting the child labour monitoring system in agriculture can help the government systematically follow the trends in child labour and address the challenges facing children and their families. By involving all stakeholders, the project is ensuring sustainability at a local level.
In all the three countries, IPEC emphasizes education to address the child labour issue. In Kyrgyzstan, working together with the Ministry of Social Development and the Ministry of Education, a pilot project stressing non-formal and formal education helped in the establishment of child labour-free zones in 2 districts. As in all the IPEC projects using the child labour monitoring system, children are identified who are at risk for or who are involved in child labor. The ministries then recommend alternatives for the children, including non-formal education, secondary school, or vocational training. Going to school helps change children's perceptions.
Parents should keep track of what their kids are doing. They should make sure their kids have a good teacher, and they should make sure their children study. They should not allow their children to work in the fields.
One new initiative, in the framework of the United Nations cooperative project Delivering as One, the Ministry of Education and the Childhood Institute, a local NGO and ILO implementing partner, is organizing evening classes for young adults who miss school because of child labor. Because of their experiences, many of them can't relate to other students, get frustrated at school, and risk ending up back in child labor.
These children are used to earning money. They are used to a free schedule. They can't sit at school for 3 to 6 hours behind a desk. That's why it's necessary to have special education programs to help them adapt to the school environment.
After they have completed the evening classes, these young people will be able to get their school certificate and get back on track for a job or higher education.
At the evening school, I hope to get my certificate of completion for 9 years of compulsory education and enter the Islamic University.
I'm going to attend the evening classes for sure. I want to become an auto electrician, just an ordinary, simple profession.
With the support of the ILO, a good education program has been established based on international models and will be applied in the schools.
The strategy is that at least children should get access to social services, education and health services. That's why educational alternatives for children are so important.
At regular meetings organized by the NGO, parents and their children talk about child labor. Food bags are handed out so families will rely a little less on money earned by their children. The meetings are changing attitudes about child labor.
It completely changed my thinking about this problem. My son finished all 9 grades. It was difficult, but he did it.
I started looking at this issue differently. A child should not work, he should study. Our children should not be working.
During the 8 years of the pilot project, more than 500 families and nearly 2,800 children at risk for or involved in child labor were provided with direct services, including health and nutrition care, school supplies, and medical and legal counseling. As a result of the pilot project, in Kyrgyzstan, 715 children were prevented or withdrawn from the worst forms of child labor and enrolled in education or skills training. It is a successful model that could be introduced in other regions of Kyrgyzstan and throughout Central Asia. ILO IPEC and its partners in Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan are helping change the lives of children trapped in child labor with sustainable results. Across the region, ordinary people now know more about the dangers of child labor. Government, trade unions, and employers have learned new ways to fight it. The child labor issue is now on the national policy agenda in all 3 countries. And in each country, effective legislation, with a strong emphasis on education and training, has contributed significantly ending the worst forms of child labor. But the most important change is in the lives of the many children helped by the project. Now they have big hopes for the future. Yevgeny wants to go to university and dreams of eventually becoming a football trainer. And he has a message for other children about child labor.
If they are working in the fields their whole life, they will not get knowledge. If they go to school, they will get knowledge, and they will get a better job.